Hello, I'm Arnell from Miemie's Keepsakes. Welcome and thank you for joining me today. I am still busy with my Roxy's Journal of Stitchery, and this is the outside part of it. I did some stitching on here. I did like a back stitch this way and then a back stitch this way to create like a checkered pattern. On here I just did running stitch this way and a pink floss, and here just running stitch this way and again running stitch this way in pink. I had to add a little piece of extra fabric because, as you can see, my fabric puckered quite a bit, which I love. I love the texture. Usually I would sew my fabrics down to my backing to prevent this, but because I only had the batting in the back, I think that's why it kind of gave this lovely quilted textured feeling. But that also meant that my fabric kind of shrunk, not really shrunk, but pulled in, and so I did need an extra piece of fabric to make my scroll long enough to fit on the back. So anyway, that was one of the things that I encountered. Maybe yours would be different. So I still need to do something here. I'm going to add some laces and other things on here as well. I'll keep working on that because you've seen that before, all of this. If not, there is videos on my channel and other people's channels for like when we did the pouch. I mean, this is almost just a trifold pouch if you look at it. So if you want to go look at how that was done, maybe go watch those videos. I'll try to remember to link that in my description box if you want to go watch those. Then so I thought maybe we'll work on camera on different things. So here is the layout that we did yesterday. Let's see if I can get it in here. Anyway, today we're going to work on the little needle book as well as on the pin cushion. I'm going to start, I think, with the needle book. I'll put that away and kind of keep it in order. And this is just how I thought I'll do my needle book. You can do it whichever way you want and feel comfortable with. So I really liked this blue felt with my other blues in my sewing kit, but it is way thinner than just regular, you know, the craft felt that you can get at the dollar store or Walmart. So I feel like if I want to add my needles in here, because this is thin too, I need a little bit more puffiness. So what I'm going to what I'm going to do is add some of this batting, because it's wadding. I think this is wadding. This is what they use for quilting, and I thought if I just add like a little bit in here, behind, and then put my felt on top. I can do 2 of that size. It's going to make my sewing roll a little bit more bulky, yes, I know, but I do feel like otherwise, because it's so thin, I'm going to have trouble just putting my needle in there. So I'm going to sew that on there, and then excuse me, let's do the felt. Cut it the same size. Okay, so the plan is to have this and this I'll sew on there, and then I'm going to add this and just do a blanket stitch, and maybe I'll put a stitch in the middle just to keep it down. And yes, my needle book is a little bulky, but I think it should be okay. I might have to cut this one just a teeny tiny bit because I don't want the blue really to show. Okay, then so let's get this done. That's a needle, not a pen. And I am going to sew it on the bottom one. I can almost, I don't have to do invisible stitch. I want to sew it, I could sew it onto the felt and then I probably won't see it, but I do want to sew it on here because I want to do a little heart here, and I want to have that heart to have the same like almost quilted texture that I had got with my fabrics. Just kind of invisible stitch, you go in and then almost right next to it you put your needle. Most of you know this stitch probably, and then a little, so my needle went in there a little farther away, put thread your needle through and just next to that, and then you can't see that little stitch, but it keeps everything in place and it goes pretty fast. What I want to do with this is I want to make a little heart on here just for some decoration. I don't have one of those, my pen that with the disappearing ink. I forgot to put the cap back on, so now it's all dried out. Okay, so I'm going to just draw it with a pencil. There's my heart. I don't know if you can see it. Back stitch, you start and kind of go forward. Most of you already know that, and then you go back into that hole where you've left last time. So you go forward underneath and see, then you go back into your first hole. Unfortunately, with a busy fabric, or all these little flowers, it's difficult to show. It's almost better to show these stitches on just a plain one color fabric. Filled in all the edges, and now I'm gonna go do seed stitch. And seed stitch I like to just kind of do little ones, and what I do a lot of times to get them to run in different directions is to sort of start with a almost like sunbeams, you know, all in the middle and two to the angled, and then go in from there and just fill in and try to get them in different directions. So this takes a while, but I do love the way it looks. I am back, and I have to admit it's been a couple of hours because my neighbor decided to start cutting up the concrete slab that was under, you know, where the garage that he took apart were built on top of. So we've had a day of a lot of noise again, but I'm not going to complain about that because I walked my dog and ran into the neighbor on the sidewalk, and so the two of us spent 30 minutes complaining about the noise. So I think I've said my piece. We'll just move on. So what I've done is I finished the seed stitching inside the heart, add a small piece of lace, and then just stitched love around there. So the next step would be to add the felt, and I'm just going to pin that on there. What I want to do actually is just, on which side will I do it? I want to make a little frame around this wadding. I think I'm going to put the pins around where the wadding is so I can make my frame, so I know where to sew. And that would help to keep the wadding in place as well, and just be a little decorative again. So this would be my front, the front of my page, my little slow stitch book. So let's do that quickly. That shouldn't take too long. And let me see, where's the corner? I kind of have to feel. And then I think what I'm going to do is do a split back stitch or a split stitch. I think that's what you call it. Anyway, so you go in just like a regular running stitch, but then you put your needle point in between. Can you see that? In between the threads. So it kind of splits it, and it almost looks like a chain stitch, but just very small. So we'll do that around. And then I think the front cover should be good. I don't think I want to add too much more to the front cover. The inside cover I'm going to do the same. finished this side of the needle book, but then when I open it, because I wanted to make that kind of like puffy, I am going, this is a little cluster I have, I'm going to add this onto the back. Maybe I'll do it this way so that lace doesn't interfere with the little book opening and closing. And now I am going to hide my knot, because I'm not going to go through both layers again. I'm just going to go through the top layer. So I'm hiding my knot by putting it either through the felt or your fabric, doesn't matter. You just want the knot in between the fabrics, and then I'm just gonna go in there and I'm just catching the felt. I'm not pushing my needle through, I'm just catching the felt, and I can even put my finger in there because I haven't sewn it shut yet. And I think I'm just gonna do, it's thick, there's a couple of layers of fabric there, and I'm just gonna do a running stitch here again around this, just as a decorative edge for my fabric, and then my needles can poke through. Now I have lots of layers here, it's nice for the needles to poke through. I don't know if you can notice, but the light, it's much darker now because I had to wait for the workers to finish outside. I couldn't do anything during the day, which was pretty frustrating, but because they picked up with a jackhammer again, so I just gave up. But anyway, they're done for the day. I think they'll come back tomorrow morning. That's the little needle book, and I'm gonna not finish off now, but in the end, when I'm sewing this onto my pocket, I'm going to do blanket stitch all around on both sides, but I'll show you once I sew everything on. I don't want to sew it on now because I might change my mind on how my pockets will be on the inside, but for now this is more or less done. And then for there's the pin cushion. So for the pin cushion, what I'm going to do is just sew it shut. And I'm wondering if I should. So I could just, oh, there's the pocket the pin cushion goes on. I could simply don't have to double it up, I'm just thinking about bulkiness, and that's just what I'm gonna do. Okay, let's tear it off here. Okay, lots and lots of threads. So what I'm going to do, just just get rid of all of this. Fight all the threads, and then I'm just going to put a little seam here. Just fold it over. To do an invisible stitch or a cast over stitch. I don't know what you would call this, but you go over the seam and under. I'm just gonna tuck those in under there, and I am going to kind of stitch this twice, give it a decorative stitch as well. And the reason why I want to do that is to make sure that the stuffing doesn't come out and it stays secure. I'm going to leave that open because that's where I have to get the stuffing in. And now my cat is here to come tell me that it is time to come upstairs. They don't want me to be down here anymore. So I will continue to stitch like only 3 ends, and then I'll come back. You don't have to watch me doing this. So I finished, I did like just a little decorative chain stitch around the edge of my pocket. And I'm just going to finish the edge here, the last little bit, and then we'll start stuffing the pin cushion. So I'm not gonna stuff mine so it's too bulky because I can't pin my, I'll show you in a minute. I would have to, because I have my pin cushion on a pocket and I want to put stuff in my pocket, I'll have to put my pins kind of sideways, and then that, so then I don't have to stuff it too much. And I'll show you. Let's finish the stuffing and then I'll show you. Okay, gonna finish there. Right, I have finished sewing it up only on 3 sides because now I need the opening to add my stuffing in here. And I'm just using my bone folder to move it down. And I don't want to stuff it too much because it would just add a lot of bulk for my sewing roll, but I also need enough to have, have it so that I can add some pins in here. So with this I won't be putting my pins in like this, obviously, because otherwise when I roll it I'm going to break myself. So you'll probably be doing your pins this way rather than putting it just in like you would a normal pin cushion. The other thing I could have done was maybe make a separate pin cushion and just take it out, but same thing, I think you would still need to put your pins in that way, because when you roll up your Hossif or your sewing roll or your Hossif, whatever you want to call your roll, it would still you'll still get stuck with the pins or pricked with the pins once you open it. So I'm just trying to spread it out to the edges as well, and the corners there. Okay, so now I'm just going to pin it shut. And then I am going to do a chain stitch to sew it up. So yeah, just a couple of stitches to close it up. And then I was thinking you can keep on decorating, maybe add some lace or some, I didn't do any stitching on the fabric for this. You can even do some stitching on the, oh, I pulled that too tight, just tighten it less. You can even do some stitching on the backgrounds of your pockets, and I am going to do that with my other pockets, but this one I decided to keep just plain. Okay, so I'm going to continue doing that and then I'll come back. So my pin cushion is all stuffed and finished, worked, closed, and so the stuffing will stay there. I thought I'll just add a little piece of lace here to decorate it a little bit. For now, I don't know if I'll add more things. I just thought it needed a little something, and I'm just sewing it on just with a overcast stitch, and now I can just go in with my, you know, even sew into the stuffing. Probably would have been easier if I did this before I sewed on the pin cushion, but this will work. I will secure it a little bit better off camera. I just want to finish this to show you what we've done today. I'm very happy with the fact that I'm already busy with the inside of this pouch. I'm still working on my, not pouch, the sewing roll. Still working on the pouch for the first week, because I want to make that as a gift for someone, and so I didn't want to just finish it off to finish it off, but I'll show you when my week 1 is done. Week 2 I made a brooch that I will, I don't have it here, I'll show you that maybe next time we come on for the pockets. I'm just going to kind of go in there and cut it off, pull it and cut it off, and make sure that is in there. Okay, so that is the pin cushion, and then we also have the little needle book that I will sew onto the my inside of the Hossif as soon as I have decided exactly where I want all my pockets. So next time we'll work on the pockets and possibly finishing it off, depending on how long that takes. But anyway, thank you for joining me today. I hope you are doing making one of these as well. It's definitely something different and a lot of fun, and something that you can use as well afterwards, which is great. Anyway, I hope you all have a wonderful day, and I hope to see you again soon. Bye.